Well, we are back in the shed. The goal for today is to get this thing going because I want to go driving again. So if you watched last week's video, you would have seen that we pulled the rear housing out and assessed the damage from Queen's birthday. Yeah, like at the time I thought it was the diff, but it turns out it was an axle, but it took out the diff anyway, so whatever. So right here I have a GU rear housing. I have to put a GU rear housing in for the engineering because I want a GVM upgrade. So I had to brace it. So I've braced all that. That was all in the last video. And yeah, I've made some bump stop spaces and this diff's good to go. So I've bolted in this LSD, the 4.6 LSD that I had on the shelf. That's the one that I shimmed up months and months ago. I made a video about it, so that's been sitting on the shelf. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. So yeah, breaking that axle gave me an excuse to do it. So yeah, that's diffs in, new gasket on that. And then I just got to grease the wheel bearings on the axles, put that all together. And we have new suspension going in. So these are the old springs, they're not that old really. They're Superior 3-inch heavy duty springs. I did like how they rode, but with the camping gear and that all in it, it sat a bit low in the back. So I got 4-inch springs in the front and 3s in the back. It sat good unloaded. I was just going to go an inch bigger in the springs, but they were out of stock until like whenever, August or something like that. So yeah, I've gone with the Dobson 4-inch. I think they're 200 to 300 kilo constant load. So they should be sweet. But the main thing we're going to put in is the shocks, but we'll get to that in a minute. So we'll get some new shocks going in. And something else I've done is, I'll show you in here. I put one of these coil braces in. I've already braced the coil, if you can see that bit of tube there. I braced it from that crossmember back to that one. But also the engineer wanted one in here, a bolt-in one, so I've nearly finished that. I just got to do the other side. A little bit painful, but it's a lot easier with the housing out. I can get in there and do it easy. So I lashed out and I got to grease up these bearings. So yeah, I bought something to grease up bearings in the shed. It's pretty fancy. If I can get the box open. Look at that, grease gun, battery one. Nah, I bought it for work, but I'm gonna use it for this. The trusty old grease needle. This is gonna make life easy. All right, now that most of that's together, I'm gonna just strip apart the calipers and just yeah, grease up the slides and make sure the piston's all good, so they work good. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have to go get a set of brake pads. I think I said it before. And then also, these are the braces that I'm putting in. So I've got to do this left-hand side, and then yeah, ready to roll this under. And we can talk about the shocks. I'm just tinkering with the calipers. You've all seen me do front and rear before. But GU calipers are slightly different. I didn't actually check if they bolt up, but I will. And the pads are a little bit different. And the pin setup is different too. The pin setup is actually heaps better. So yeah, it'd be interesting if GU calipers bolt up to GQ. It'd be a not bad thing to do, but I think maybe the back spacing might be different. Anyway, I'll have a look, but slap all that back together and get it on the diff. Well, it looks like the GU and GQ rear calipers are interchangeable. This is obviously the GU diff. That's a GQ caliper that I just pulled off the other diff. It's got pads in it. Yeah, everything bolts up good, spins good. Yeah, so there you go. If you're chasing brake calipers, it seems that both fit, I guess. And if you can find GU rear calipers, you have a heaps better slide setup. the pin setup. The pads are, yeah, the pads are slightly different. Not in surface area wise, they've got a bit more curve to them. But I can't see, they're the same rotors. And yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't fit, so there you go. Now this is the sway bar bracket. So it snapped off and then it got mangled because I left it on for a little bit. It was pretty muddy where we were, so I waited till a dry spot till I could pull the pin out of the sway bar. But yeah, there's no salvaging that. All right, well here's the shocks. Superior Engineering, they're the 2.5s. So yeah, bigger shaft, 7/8 or something like that, and 2.5 inch body. So yeah, they bloody look unreal. So from the hose out to the canister is pretty much the same as the 2.0s. The same adjuster. You got 8 compression clicks on the reservoir, but the difference with these is these actually have a rebound adjuster. So this here is actually must be updated because on their website it has like a clicker on the side here. So that's new. I didn't know that was a thing. So they've obviously updated the design for whatever reason. But this gives you 16 clicks of adjustment on the rebound. So 8 on compression, 16 on the rebound, which is insane. And it actually works unreal. I'll give you the demonstration in a second. But yeah, big nice heam joints and spacers and whatever. So they're actually unreal shocks. For the price, if you compare these to other 2.5s on the market, these are pretty competitively priced. And yeah, off the top of my head, I can't really think of one with a rebound adjustment and a compression adjustment. With these adjustment, it puts an adjustment on the whole shock stroke. So unlike one of the other videos where I was talking about the bypass shocks, where they have the bypass tubes off the side, that's adjustable in that section of bypass tube, which is why different sections of the shock stroke have different dampening. So yeah, these do the whole stroke. So yeah, obviously one is minimal rebound dampening, so it comes out pretty quick, and 16 is super firm rebound dampening, so it takes ages to come out. And same with the compression. If it's on one, it's like, yeah, as soft as it can go, and then 8 is as firm as it can go, and it's actually, yeah, unreally different. So I'll give you a quick demonstration on yeah, the difference it makes. So I won't demonstrate the compression because it's sort of hard for me to show how hard it is to push, how much force I have to push on it. But the rebound is the main one that I can show. So we'll click this on one so it's easy to push, otherwise it's bloody hard. There is a little arrow there, so we'll dial it back to 1, and then we'll push it down, which is still actually quite firm, and you can see how fast it comes up. Then if I click this all the way to 16, you can, even that is a little bit firmer. You can see how slow it is on the rebound. So when you buy these, you can buy, when you buy it, look, you can specify either heavy valving, or heavy vehicle valving, or light vehicle valving. It's still going. So naturally I want the heavy vehicle valving because, as I've explained, my car's pretty heavy and I do like to drive a little bit faster. So I do like the suspension on the stiffer side so you can hit bumps a little bit faster. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to trial. One thing I've found is, I don't know what that's going to be like, but if you have too much rebound dampening, when you hit a bump, instead of the car unloading and the shocks pushing the wheels back onto the ground, it actually doesn't rebound the diff back out onto the ground, and your wheels actually come off the ground. So you'll compress and then it'll bounce, and then the rebound's not fast enough to keep the wheels on the ground, so the car will actually come off the ground and then go again. So I might do that on 16. I don't know. I'll have to test it out. But yeah, this is exciting. So I'm still waiting for the one bypass shock on the front left-hand side. Hopefully that gets sorted out soon. But yeah, now we're running 3 out of the 4 shocks that I want to run. So this is going to be good. Well, I've been flat out in the shed all day, getting all this done. So pretty much it is all done, bar a couple little things. But as you can see, they fit in there nicely. I actually had to make a little bum stop spacer. The measurements given on the website were slightly different to the shocks, so keep that in mind. Yeah, I had to put a little 10mm packer on the bum stop. But yeah, it's all sweet, so we'll use a maximum amount of travel and all is well. So the brakes are bled, everything's in. The only thing I've got left is the left-hand shock. I've just got to put that in, which won't take long, and then we're back under full steam. So, like I said earlier, a bit of a bummer about the sway bar. I've currently got no sway bar, which is going to suck. Yeah, I don't know how people pull the sway bars out of these. They drive terrible without them, mainly the rear. But anyway, I'm going to bang that shock in, put the wheels back on, and see how it looks. All right, so I'll quickly bang this in, and then I want to put the wheels on and then see how it sits. So probably sit a bit high in the back first, but they will obviously settle the springs. So we'll get into it. Sweet, looks good. So I measured the bump stop and the bump stop spacing, and it sits about 15mm higher at the moment, but I'd expect that to sag back down. So it should be pretty much where it was, yeah, in few weeks or a few drives or whatever. There's not much weight in the back at the moment. It's got no fuel in it and things like that. But yeah, not that you'll be able to tell, but you rock on it, and yeah, it's pretty stiff, and then it doesn't keep rocking after you let it go. So this is going to be good. So I'm excited to try this out. I've got a couple other things to do. I've got the right hand reservoir. I tied that up, but the left hand one I still got to do. And I actually got my limit straps to go in and a few other bits and pieces. So I'll continue this during the week, and you'll see that in this video, so stick around. All right, well, I've actually managed to get in here after work during the week. I've got a flat out weekend that I've got a lot to do on the weekend. So I'll try and just finish this off tonight. That way it's out of the way and it's ready to go, because a couple of the other boys, Sherry and that, are going to go driving this weekend, and I'm a bit bummed I'm going to miss out. But that's just the way it goes. So I want to get all this done, so maybe next weekend, yeah, the car's sitting here ready to go and we can go test some of this stuff out. So the last thing I sort of got to do, other than tie up the back left-hand reservoir, is limit strap. So here's a limit strap here. The idea of the limit strap is to limit the open length of the shock. So some shock companies won't even warrant their shocks if you don't have limit straps in place. So when the diff drops out, usually it just hangs off the shocks, but instead it'll be hanging off the limit strap. So if you've had the shock apart before, and not just this shock, like any shock, you'll see that there's really not that much holding it together. Not that I've never pulled one apart or anything silly like that, but I think I've only seen it a couple of times. I'm sure it happens a lot more in like more crazy stuff, off-road racing and trophy trucks and whatever. Yeah, if a limit strap breaks, that might happen. But anyway, it's not so common on this, but just a peace of mind thing for this. So the limit strap's pretty heavy duty. You can get them in like a few different pliers, but that's a 6-ply limit strap, and they do stretch under when they load up. They stretch, and from memory, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but they reckon for the 6-ply strap, it's 1 inch of stretch for every 18 inch of strap. That would obviously vary with the weight that's hanging off it. If you've got big tires hanging off it and things like that, it probably might stretch more, or that might be the stretch number with that much weight on it. So it might stretch a little bit less with this much weight on it. But anyway, it is what it is. So on the top, if you watch the bypass mount video, I pre-welded this little tab in here and drilled a hole in it. So that's for the top. This is called a clevis. So as you can see here, it's sort of notched out and the strap fits up in there. So what this is for is you can actually adjust. I've got that much thread to adjust the length of the strap. And I should actually get the other things, but the other end is just a U, like a U-bolt, U-bracket that I'm gonna weld somewhere here. I've got to drop the diff right out of it and then make some measurements and make sure it's welded in the right spot. But that's what I've got to do now. So I'll drop the diff out and then inspect how this is gonna work. So all I got to do is just make sure this is at full droop. Make sure I've got full shaft out, which it has. That's 10 inch out, and these are the U brackets, so these will just weld on. And when mounting these, you sort of got to make sure they're pulling straight in line with the clevis. You can imagine if it's pulling like that, it's going to end up bending this clevis. So but it seems like it's going to work pretty much spot on. Maybe a slight angle, but we should be good. Yeah, all I'm going to do is just weld that onto the diff there on both sides. So pretty simple, and then bolt it in and then adjust the tension of the strap and make sure, yeah, like when this is super tight, I want about 9.5 inches, maybe 9.25 of shaft out, and then that should allow for any stretch and shouldn't top the shock out, so it should take up on the limit strap. All right, so she's all good. All measures up right, fits in there right. The yeah, I could have maybe gone 2 inch shorter strap, maybe. Probably not actually. So yeah, it all fits good. Because the other side has still got the coilover shock in it, they have different open and close lengths. So the limit strap's probably not going to work because it's about 1.5 inches shorter open length. So this limit strap setup may not work, or might be a little bit long for the other side. Well, we're back in action. So yeah, pretty much the car is, off the top of my head, it's pretty much ready for a drive. But I've just found out that we're back in lockdown. What the hell? So apparently it's only 5 days, but you know what it's like, probably 5 weeks. But anyway, hopefully we'll go for a drive soon. Yeah, sort of, I don't feel so bad staying in the shed this weekend when it's supposed to be snowing and whatever. It gives me an excuse to get some stuff done. So hopefully drive soon. I've got some other stuff to do. I've got another car sitting out there. So we've got some stuff coming up with that. But stay tuned for that. If you did like the video, do all the normal stuff, like, comment, and subscribe if you're a new viewer. And we'll see you on the next one.